New Zealand is a country of stunning lakes, warm-hearted and welcoming people, and inspiring landscapes. So it's no coincidence that the Pioneer Mountain Bike Stage Race has adopted these characteristics as its event pillars. Hundreds of mountain bikers from all over the world have made their way to Queenstown in the Southern Lakes region of New Zealand for the third edition of the event, ready to test themselves on a brand new version of the course. The Pioneer is part of the Epic race series, which includes the Swiss Epic and the legendary ABSA Cape Epic. Accordingly, it's no small undertaking. Over 6 days, the riders will race through 424 kilometres and climb through over 15,000 metres of elevation. Along the way, they'll be invited to find stunning, find character, and find welcome. This is the Pioneer 2018. In 2018, the Pioneer Mountain Bike Stage Race enters a new era as the event moves location to the Southern Lakes of New Zealand and central Otago. The hills and mountains around Queenstown, Alexandra and Bannockburn become the backdrop to what has become one of the biggest and best known mountain bike stage races in the world. More than just a landscape, Queenstown is the perfect host town for the race, packed with adventure activities, great restaurants and wineries, and it's also a short drive away from the other host town of Alexandra. This is the fruit basket of the South Island, a rugged, dry landscape dotted with orchards of cherries and world-renowned Pinot Noir vineyards.
Here we go.
The race got underway with a 20-kilometre prologue on the single track below Coronet Peak ski field. Following an unseasonal cold spell, the conditions were less than perfect, but the riders got a taste of what Queenstown and the Pioneer have to offer in 2018. As the riders assemble for the first full stage of the Pioneer, the leaders' jerseys have been dished out, and ahead of the riders is a brand new version of the event, unknown to both the newcomers and the founding riders who've lined up before.
Round 3. Yeah, I think probably going to be the best round ever in terms of course, so I'm pretty stoked.
Oh, it's awesome to be here. It's a great place to come play. Great place.
Last year we knew what to expect, around each corner, but this year's a bit different. It's new for all of us. So it's going to be cool.
I'm really looking forward to getting into the backcountry as well and getting out of town and getting right out into the wide open spaces. So it's going to be fantastic.
The first full stage of the 2018 Pioneer is a second slice of pure Queenstown adventure. Beginning with the fast gravel of the Queenstown Trails network, the riders are quickly into the backcountry on a section taking in Lakes Moke and Dispute before they hit the custom-built single track along the shores of Lake Wakatipu, finishing up at the bottom of the gondola back in Queenstown. For Alexandra local and defending champion James Williamson, the new course is a welcome change.
The course change this year is really exciting. It brings the race much more into the competitive cross-country kind of stage racing scene as opposed to your marathon ultra endurance event almost. So having more technical single track mountain biking involved in the new course is it's the way forward, the way mountain bike racing's going, and that's what people want to do, and it's fun, and everyone has a smile on their face when they're doing it, so you can't go wrong really.
Ah, beautiful. I've got my vertigo pants on.
At the front of the race, the leader's jersey is on the shoulders of New Zealanders Michael Vink and Tim Rush. But the experienced road racers look set to be challenged by the Spanish-Belgium duo of Ismael Sanchez and Sebastian Carabin of Team Vojo ESMTB. The European pair have twice placed top 10 in the ABSA Cape Epic and have the advantage on the technical trails over the Kiwi pair. For Vink, this is a rare opportunity to park the road bike and race the mountain bike.
10 seasons ago, or 10 years ago, was when I first signed with the Continental team, which is, I guess, a semi-professional sort of team. Today's the first season in 10 years actually that I've been at home all year. Normally I've been off over in Europe and various places. I was always a mountain biker and kind of did road cycling through the school program, and found out I was pretty good at it, and the next thing I knew I was kind of off to Europe, so I didn't really have any time for the mountain bike anymore, which was a shame, but it's nice to be back to it. I haven't done a cross-country race in a couple of years, and that one of the 2 years ago was the first one in probably 7 or 8 years, so it's been a long time since I've done it, but I did so much as a kid. I feel like I'm pretty natural on a mountain bike, so it all comes back pretty quick, and often in the summer, when I come back from Europe, I'd quite like to get on a trail bike and just do some laps somewhere and just kind of, do something different, I think.
Mike is riding the best I've seen him ride since about 011, 012, since Road Nationals. He rode away solo, and I remember that day watching him thinking, if I could ever get to that level or ride or race against him, I'd be doing well. 6 months ago I had to be ready for him, and I was nervous that I was going to let him down and I'm not going to be up to scratch, and I didn't want to be that guy that there's a lot of guys back there that their partner is so much stronger, and it's a long week for them, and now it's good to see that my hard work is paying off slowly, and I can keep it up there with him.
Despite starting the stage with a 4-minute advantage over the Europeans, the pressure is on Vink and Rush as the Euros leave the Moonlight Trail and head towards Moat Lake, leading by a couple of minutes. The front two teams have opened up a commanding gap on the chasing teams of Spot Africa and defending champions Will Bike. Queenstown is renowned around the world as the ultimate adventure playground. In recent years, with the introduction of the Skyline Gondola mountain bike park and the Queenstown Trail Trust, mountain biking has become a massive part of the Queenstown adventure scene.
Originally there was just like lakefront trails and stuff, and in the last 10, maybe 12 years, lots of development gone on. 7 Mile's one of the early ones, and it's kept being developed and added to. They've done some real good stuff up here lately.
Been in Queenstown about 10 years now, and when I first got here, Queenstown had great jumps and a few little trail areas, but just with the amazing scenery, it was kind of hard not to have amazing trails out there as well. So just kind of got involved with the local mountain bike club and put a proposal together, and then just started cranking away, really.
Mountain biking in general, like around the world, is slowly becoming what skiing and snowboarding is in winter. Yeah, so the whole sport's just growing, and bikes are getting better and people are just getting more interested.
Trails here just have heaps of variety. You can be in native beech forest, pine forest, out in the open in tussocks, and Bannockburn and scrub. You've pretty much always got an awesome view. If the trails weren't cool here, then they wouldn't want to come. So it's good that Queenstown now has a diverse range of trails that can host a race like that.
Stage 1 certainly gives the pioneers a good sample of what Queenstown has to offer, finishing with a climb up into the Gondola mountain bike park on the edge of town and a descent to the finish on the flowing custom-built trails. It's the European duo from Team Vojo who crossed the timing mat first at the bottom of the gondola to take stage 1 in a time of 3 hours and 3 minutes.
It was super fun. It was at the middle a little bit too fast for us, but on the technical days, I think we are faster. It was like a backpack for cross country all the time.
It's mountain bike paradise.
The yellow jersey holders Vink and Rush cross 1 minute 46 behind, close enough to hold on to the yellow, but far enough behind to know they have a real race on their hands.
Did I hurt? They rode really well on that tight technical stuff, so it's going to be tough. It's a long week. We've got some more full drive climbs that suit us probably better, so we'll recover and take it day by day and just see how we go.
It's been a tough and scenic day on the bike, and 69 kilometres after they set out, the pioneers roll back into Queenstown with stage 1 completed. For the mixed pair of Mark Williams and Kate Fluker, it's been a successful day. The Queenstown locals are 2-time Pioneer champions, but were edged out of the red jersey in the prologue. They now move into first place ahead of rivals Josie Wilcox and Joe Skirman. The challengers know this will be a tough week.
Expecting it to just get tougher and tougher, really. This is the first one out of the way, or the second day really, and there's plenty more to come, so it's just each day as it comes and see how we go, and that's all we can do really.
From here, the Pioneer literally gets moving as race bags and athletes board buses for the 1-hour trip through to Alexandra and their first night in Tent City. These tents will become their homes for the rest of the event as they race their way back over the mountains to Queenstown. This is what the Pioneer is truly about: tent life and the consuming routine of cleaning, eating, sleeping and racing.
Stage 1 over, we've got another big day tomorrow, and no, cozy now, had my feed, and that's it for Team Blue Dog. We're out, have a good night, see you later.
Day 3 of the Pioneer dawns bright and clear. This will be the Queen stage, the longest stage of the week. The mood around camp though is one of excitement rather than dread.
Life's good. Cup of Pioneer coffee, beautiful morning. Bring it on.
We've heard a lot about the Alexandra trails, and we're really looking forward to it. A lot of guys back home are from here, and these are the ones they rave about. So looking forward to the Enduro trail. It should be a lot of fun.
It's a lot of relentless riding out there today. I mean, if yesterday was tough, this is another 50% tougher than that, and it's probably going to be really hot, I'd say, by midday today as well. So those last couple of climbs will be cooking.
At 102 kilometres, the Alexandra Queen stage is a beauty. Almost immediately, the Pioneers are onto single track right on the edge of town before heading down the Clutha Gorge and onto the longest climb of the day. 400 metres plus onto the flat top hill. Gravel roads will take them past orchards and vineyards through the middle section before the final big climb above the Clyde Dam and descent of the technical enduro trail. From there, it's a flat run to the finish at Tent City.
Yeah, I think sort of Alexandra's known as, that rocky clock on the hill, time covered, Yeah, so we're in this little valley in this bowl, coldest place in New Zealand in the winter, definitely, and probably one of the hotter places and drier in the summer. So yeah, we're a little bit unique. We don't have all that rush and hassle and stuff, and you get on the trails here, there's nobody else, you basically got them all to yourself. The reason the Pioneers come to Alexandra this year is I think we've got a diverse range of trail systems. So we're not just catering for that open four-wheel drive type high mountain stuff. We have that, but we've got some real cool stuff close to town here. We've got some good landowners here that let us use these trails too, which is really good. And Department of Conservation, there's some trails we're going to use out at Flat Top and that we've been building, and they'll be an awesome experience for those guys to ride up. The views up there are huge, and they're real techie, nice mountain bike built trails by mountain bikers.
Pain is this week, just leaving the body. Mate, this is majestical, bro.
Alexandra's reputation as a mountain bike destination is deservedly high. This is single track riding at its very best, with scenery to die for. Vink and Rush lead the men's race once again, with Team Vojo just a minute behind. South African boys Tim Hammond and Alan Gordon are riding well in third. In the open women's event, the lead is turning into a tussle between the New Zealand team of Kate McIlroy and Amy Hollenby and the Australian pairing of Brodie Chapman and Bryony Mattox. McIlroy's pedigree as a mountain running world champion, Olympic triathlete and Commonwealth Games cyclist is incredible, but it's a different story with the sport of mountain biking.
I think I got my mountain bike 6 weeks ago. Honestly, we came down and did the prologue maybe a month ago, and I couldn't even ride down Road Rock. So between then and now, my skills have definitely improved. I'd have to say every day here on the descents, I'm absolutely terrified. Just point the bike and go and hope for dear life that I end up in one piece.
For somebody that's only ridden a mountain bike for 6 weeks, she does pretty damn good. Kate's an amazing climber. She really does hold us together as well, as far as making sure that I'm not doing anything too silly, because I have a tendency to try and go up a hill too fast, or like sprint for a finish when I really should be conserving energy for tomorrow. So a team is a team, isn't it? I don't know what my strengths are as far as the team is, apart from getting to the finish line every day.
Their rivals in Team Shimano have far more experience in the mountain bike world. If their worries lie anywhere, it's in their ability to keep the pace up day after day.
Yeah, I'm lucky in that I actually started riding with mountain bikes. So I started just doing like local downhill, and then I raced enduro a little bit, quite briefly. So actually doing this kind of mountain bike marathon racing and stage racing is pretty new territory for me. But it is that same kind of thing where you have to think about on the first day that you still want to be racing the last day. It's very different to a one-day race in that sense, just especially like nutrition-wise, like you want to be eating and drinking on day one to help you also get through day 6.
It is really difficult to prepare yourself for a race this long. There's only a few of them around the world that sort of go for this long and have sort of a tough day after day after day after day. Yeah, I really like it. I really like sort of punishing myself, and I am a bit of a diesel, so I don't vary too much in speed. I just try to go sort of pretty consistently right throughout the whole week.
As the lead riders hit the base of the final climb of the day, the men's race has taken a disappointing turn for Team Vojo ESMTB, with Ismael Sanchez forced to withdraw with around 30 kilometres to go.
Well, we were second, but I feel totally empty, so it was not about 2 days, it was more thinking about the whole week. It's not easy to recover when you are racing, and I begin sick from the travel. I tried to recover. Yesterday we have a good day, but this night was horrible, and today it was impossible to the end.
It's been a demanding day in warm conditions, and the climb up to the top of the Enduro Trail is a significant sting in the tail.
Feeling good, but yet annihilated.
Yeah. I got the legs today, but still a good spirit.
I think we're happy. Yeah, we're happy. Still solid, steady, keeping it moving.
From the top of the Hawksburn Road climb, the final challenge is a descent to the Clyde Enduro Trail. This is a stage to test every aspect of the pioneers' abilities and not just their fitness. From the bottom, it's just a flat 20 kilometres along the rail trail back to the finish. Vink and Rush from Team Onya Bike crossed the line first for their second stage victory. With the withdrawal of Ismael Sanchez, their lead now explodes out to 40 minutes over the South African pair of Alan Gordon and Tim Hammond. Local Team Will Bike cross in third, with a disappointed Sebastian Carabin. Carabin is now out of any general classification contention. Kate McIlroy and Amy Hollenby take their third stage win for Team Wellington after breaking away from the Shimano ladies team. For Bryony Mattox, it's been a long day that's forced her to really test her limits.
Oh, the darkness descended through a lot of the rolling hills. It was just like an elastic band that eventually broke.
Today it was insane, but was because it was so nice, so cool, but completely insane. Too much, too difficult.
But we're glad it was the last stage, right?
We are happy.
It's not the last?
Not yet.
No?
As the days and the kilometres mount up, so does the toll on the riders themselves. The finish of each stage is an achievement, but it will all mean very little until the pioneers cross the final finish line back in Queenstown.
Stage racing is less about raw speed than it is about endurance. If you look at the full 6 days and the sort of length of the race, it's more about travelling efficiently and travelling sustainably so that you can get to the end of the race in reasonably good shape. And I think we've learned really well how to manage that. And we've learned pretty well as well that you can't let yourself get carried away with the race that's happening around you. You've just got to race your own race and manage yourselves, and usually it pays dividends.
Throughout these races, everyone has a flat point at some stage. I generally have them earlier in the week and come right as the week goes on, so I'm hoping that happens again.
What is amazing is you truly understand what your human body is capable of doing. I think when you get to a stage race, it's about getting your body into the eat, sleep, ride routine, and you just get on with it, and you just don't try and think about too much else apart from that.
3, 2, 1.
You go to bed every night thinking, yeah, we're going to do this. And every morning you wake up and you think, oh God, I just don't want to get out of bed. And why am I doing this? So, in the time you get here and you get around the people, you start getting motivated again. And like I said, once that gun goes off, it is, you're like, right, you're loving it again. And life's awesome. And the ultimate goal is getting to that last day, and that high of getting to that last day lasts for months.
Stage 3 of the Pioneer sees the riders saying thank you and farewell to Alexandra as they head out onto the historic gold miners' route through to their next stop at Bannockburn, one step closer to the finish in Queenstown.
The stage from Alex to Bannockburn is a transition stage, and it's got that cool point-to-point aspect, which is always exciting in a stage race. Gives you a reason to arrive at your destination. It's got a bit of everything. There's going to be some farm tracks in there that are rough and haven't been used very much, but once you get up to the top, you get almost a 360-degree view of the Cromwell and Alexandra basins and the lakes and the rivers, and if you do have the time to look down, it's pretty cool.
Just another climb. Day 3. Wow, this is awesome. It was easy.
So good that the Pioneer is becoming established as one of the big stage races to do worldwide. The depth of field is proven that it's bringing a lot of people from overseas, and certainly in all categories there's a very, very good depth of field. There's some very, very strong international riders here, and it adds to the whole flavour of the race. It's such good racing across a lot of categories. It's really tight.
It's really good for us. There's no point that I can get off the gas and kind of relax, because there's just people biting at your heels. It makes racing really fun. Stressful, but fun.
We're both really competitive. We want to win for sure. If we don't, it's not the end of the world, but we're still out here to race, so we'll push it to the very end and see where we end up.
For the Vodafone team of Rion Nolan and Mitchell Sincock, the Pioneer is proving to be far harder and more painful than it ever should be.
Unreal.
After breaking his wrist and ribs just a week out from the start of the event, Rion Nolan was left with the option to quit and let down his teammate, or to start and push through the pain. It was potentially the end of the road for the pair and the loss of a year's worth of planning and preparation.
Seeing what Mitch put into it, the hours and hours and stuff like that, and the determination, the grit, whatever, and I was like, you know what, I think I can start. And that's where he says, let's just take it moment by moment, day by day, and we'll see what happens. Everything's just changed now just to finish every single day. And so now Mitch is a GC leader, so I've had to learn a whole new communication style, and Mitch has had to now be my lead man. I was the big guy, and I was going to nurse Mitch through the whole thing. And now it's just been switched around. Now I'm the guy on the back, he's slow, he stops at every aid station, and I just keep riding.
Every day, the longer he keeps riding, it's amazing me, because he's going down the descents, I'm getting arm pump, he's doing it with one brake, broken arm, a couple of broken ribs. So I don't know if he's just a little bit crazy and doesn't know the consequences if he does come off, but yeah, he's going well. Yeah, really well.
If we finished 100th, we've goal achieved, because we came down there on the drive. I couldn't even walk or breathe or talk, And Mitch has had some pretty cool days. He can take a lot away from it, but mate, massive days to come, the hardest yet, So yeah.
The Pioneer is a major test of perseverance and commitment. Finishing demands a lot of the riders, and a significant chunk of the motivation comes from the other guy or girl beside you. Whatever the race throws at you, you have to keep going.
Our derailer came off on the last downhill, and now we're pushing the bike the last 10k. It's good training. 10k run at the end of 4 days. So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow now.
Finish line.
This has been one of the most demanding days yet on the Pioneer, and the sight of the new tent city in Bannockburn Valley is a huge relief to most of the field. Although significantly shorter than yesterday, the 2,500 metres of climbing has taken its toll on the riders today, and the relentless effort is starting to wear the field down.
Rub me in olive oil.
Just roll me down.
Call me well done.
Roll me down into a hole. Stuff the Queen stage. That was way harder.
Way harder.
Who organises this?
You know, when we're going down, we were still like going up.
The Vodafone boys arrive in Bannockburn, happy to have finished another full stage.
It's going all right. It's getting better and better. I can use you one break the whole bloody race, so it's a bit of a mission. Mate, if anyone's behind me, I apologise now because I'm taking every single of the worst lines because I can't steer, like left and right.
It's been a great stage for the Team Shimano ladies as they take their first stage victory of the week. After the dark day yesterday, today they've been in good form, reducing the lead of Team Wellington by 5 minutes.
Oh, awesome. We're very happy with our efforts today. We thought today was going to be easier, but it wasn't. Really, those long single track climbs and super rocky descents just kind of suited our strengths, and we really wanted it today. So, it was great times.
Oh, I need to get a whole lot of water into me.
Me also.
It's a similar story for the New World pair of Mark Williams and Kate Fluker, who win the stage once again to lead by just over 10 minutes. For Team Jojo in second, it's their first attempt at a stage race.
I guess we're learning as we go a bit with the nutrition and food and
what works, what doesn't.
What works and what doesn't, and you certainly find out when it doesn't work. We're all going through highs and lows out there.
After a tough final 10-kilometre run in cycling shoes, Matt Bradbury and Mark Thompson crossed the line in Bannockburn, successfully finishing the day, albeit with one broken bike.
Legend. If I had been by myself, I probably would have pulled out, but teammate, can't let him down, eh?
I made a proper job of it. No wonder he couldn't single speed it.
Yeah.
We all want him to go around as no spokesman. We'll be down to the mechanics to see what we can do.
The end of the stage is where the day begins for the small army of bike mechanics behind the scenes.
At the moment, we're getting about 2.5 hours sleep a day. There is no day, there is no night. It's all about bikes, schedules, hours. That's about it, really. It's interesting. Keeps us honest.
I've been here from the start. We had a little tiny crew of like 4 or 5 people. Then the following year we had 8 people. Now we're 14 mechanics and a chef, just for us alone. It's like ridiculous. And now we work basically 24 hours a day, sleep when we can, lie on the floor of the workshop. The way we see it is every bike that comes here needs fixed, needs to be on the start line for tomorrow morning, whether the rider's riding tomorrow or not. The bike has to make it, so we do whatever we can. But we got an 8mm bolt today off the farmer because the pivot snapped. Bike works, bike's ready to race. Might not be the fastest bike, but goes. So yeah, we do what you got to do. Kiwi ingenuity, number 8 wire if we had any. We can get it.
It'll be survival today for us, certainly. Not enough training, but we'll be right.
We're all a bit nervous. Everyone's a bit quieter than usual, so yeah, we all just want to survive.
The finish of the Pioneer is now closer than the start, but stage 4 of the race is possibly the most brutal of the week.
No challenge, no reward. That's what makes these races special, is that they're hard. So while we're suffering and it's awful and you wish it was over, at the same time I wouldn't have it any other way. It needs to be this hard to make it as rewarding as it is.
With 3,500 metres of climbing in just 70 kilometres, the Pioneers know this will be a day that will truly test their resolve. Stage 4 is a loop of the historic Bannockburn Hills. At 70 kilometres, it's one of the shortest of the week, but the riders will have to grind their way up the Carricktown track and reach the top and mount difficulty before making their way to the finish line back at Anderson's farm.
We're expecting a lot of climbing. Expecting it to be very hard and very long. Very long. So it's told an hour and fresh legs, so probably put an hour and a half into that. So just got to keep turning those cranes over and over. We'll get there.
The name of this event speaks to both the history of New Zealand and the character required to undertake it. New Zealand was built on a pioneering spirit, and this part of central Otago is steeped in that history. Once a part of one of the world's greatest gold rushes, Bannockburn these days is more famous for being central Otago at its finest, a stunning landscape full of orchards and vineyards.
Really, it's full of people who love wine, because this is where all the best wine in New Zealand is made. The Pinot Noir, which is absolute flagship wine here. And we also have a group of people who belonged to Bannockburn for generations. Kawara Station, which then amalgamated or brought in Mount Difficulty Station, is a huge spread. The countryside is just so magnificent. It's just an extraordinary variety of hill and track, which really fits in with a race called the Pioneer, because it's basically following the footsteps of the older generation.
The original track from Bannockburn to what they call the Water Wheel, which is away on the top of the Carrick Range, that was a public right-of-way made by wagoners and miners. They went to a lot of trouble. I can remember my mother, she could remember it quite clearly, taking a boiler, of all things, up the Carrick to run a crusher for breaking up the quartz and whatnot. And there were 30 horses in that team, and it took them a week to get it there. Now, you know, the things they did to achieve virtually nothing, really, as it turned out, because I don't know of anybody who ever made a great fortune out of it.
We're definitely a place where I always think of Ed Hillary talking about putting the effort in. And I think people come here and begin to put the effort in. And I think that's the very essence of being human. Just being comfortable and happy doesn't cut the mustard. We have to put effort in.
The climb up the Carricktown track to Mount Difficulty is an arduous 1,200 metre ascent, the biggest climb of the race. And coming so late in the week, the effort required to make it to the top is huge.
Hey Princess, on you get. Thank you. I ride as much as I can, and then walk a little bit, and he's pushing my bike, because he's tougher than me.
One of the mantras of the Pioneer is the greater the effort, the sweeter the reward. It reflects the difficulty of the event and the never quit attitude that it takes to get through to the finish.
On top of the world up here, aren't we? It's a hell of a view, eh?
Yep.
The reward for today's effort is not just the view from the top, nor the fast descent down into the valley again, but the knowledge that after today there is just one more stage between the Pioneers and the ultimate goal of finishing the race in Queenstown. Epic series events like the Swiss Epic, the Cape Epic and the Pioneer are races of attrition. Every stage takes away a little more than the body can recover, so as the week continues, the challenge becomes greater. But from here the end is in sight. One more night to recover before the final stage home to the finish.
That climbing was outstanding. I was in a world of pain, just trying to hang on to this boy's wheel, but the descending was just next level, really smooth. It was just a beautiful day on the bike.
I've done this a couple of times and I know that life gets easier after the Pioneer. Nothing seems difficult after you do this. It's worth it, definitely worth it.
You're awesome.
It will mean a lot getting over that finish line tomorrow. Yeah.
One day to go. One day to go. She's all home from here. Thank God.
Hang on. That was my spot.
A nice cold bath at the end of the day.
I went to some wine tasting.
Oh, did you?
The four of your half-naked friends.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, easier day.
Oh, this is the ticket.
The end of anything as huge as the Pioneer brings mixed emotions. Joy that the finish line is close, trepidation that you'll still have to get through one more stage, and a tinge of sadness that soon it will all be over.
The journey's almost over, man. It's been a good time. I'm feeling great. I'm really looking forward to the last hill and then getting home. It's hard days of racing. You can be sitting in your saddle and your head's down and you're grinding away and you're hating life, and you look up, you look around you and you're like, this is why I'm doing it. This is the only, there's good reasons for doing it, but this is one of them. It's just you get to go to places you'll never ever get to see.
For the riders, the final stage of the Pioneer is a tale of two halves. The riders are quickly into the big climb of the day, an 1,100 metre ascent of Mount Michael. They then descend quickly to the valley floor before riding through the Gippsland Valley on rough farm tracks. From here they hit the smooth gravel of the Queenstown Trail network for the final push to the finish. For the race leaders in all the categories, this is where the week's efforts have got them. One final effort that will decide who wins and who loses the Pioneer 2018.
Go riders! Have a great day. See you on the track.
The hills are alive with the sound of screaming legs. Oh, my legs are screaming. Oh, beautiful day. I just got to keep remembering to look up at the scenery.
As the riders leave Bannockburn and begin their climb into the hills above Cromwell, just minutes separate Team Wellington Airport from Team Shimano. For the Kiwi pair, their results this week have been a surprise, but now it's about riding smartly to the finish.
I didn't come down here expecting to be in the lead, absolutely no way, just because I knew my skills probably weren't at the level that was necessary. And then the irony was that we were in a yellow jersey after the prologue, and obviously we're still in it, which is awesome. It's the experience as well, but once that yellow jersey's on you, it's hard to take it off really.
I think we've just got to get there safely. That's the key. We've got 7 minutes. So we, on the girls that are in second place, so we'll just try and ride as much as we can with them. They are amazing at going downhill. So if we have to leave a wee gap and lose a minute to them on the descent just to make it safe, we'll do that.
Like a 1986 Toyota Land Cruiser in low box.
Just grind away, mate. Grind away.
In the open men's race, the on your bike duo of Michael Vink and Tim Rush lead by an hour and 10 minutes. While only a complete disaster will prevent Vink and Rush from taking out the title, behind them the racing is a lot tighter between Spot Africa and defending champions Will Bike. The second and third place teams separated by only 7 minutes. And it's a similar situation in the mixed pairs race. As has been the case all week, the defending champions New World and the new challengers Jojo are riding side by side, and only 6 minutes separate the two teams as the final finish line approaches. Just a few kilometres further in though, and the race has been thrown wide open. As Jojo arrive at the Kawarau River crossing, they're riding solo. The defending champions have been dropped, and now Jojo are quickly eating into the 6-minute deficit.
Oh, were they going to puncture? Back there. Oh, I made a couple of Ks there.
Alright, go, away we go.
You alright?
Yep. Good stuff, guys.
Oh.
Oh man, massive staple through Willie's wet tyre.
From this point on, it's fast and flat, and all the New World pair can do now is to time trial into Queenstown to see what the final damage will be. Crossing the historic Kawarau bungee bridge, Team Wellington Airport look to have the race sewn up. Their stronger legs on the day have edged out the Australian duo, who look to have reached the bottom of their tank on this final stage. Just the sight of Queenstown itself is enough to get Team Shimano punching the air, even with 10k still to go.
Tim Rush, Michael Vink, on your bike, 424 kilometres, 15,000 metres of climbing, Pioneer champions.
As expected, the 2018 Pioneer champions are Michael Vink and Tim Rush. They crossed the finish line in Queenstown first on the final stage, increasing their overall winning advantage.
There were some tough old stages there, no matter who you are, I think, and we've certainly suffered a bit this week, and it's been tough, but it's been character building and we've learnt a lot, and I think we've improved throughout the week, and that's what we really wanted, I guess.
The South African duo of Alan Gordon and Timothy Hammond hold on for second.
Yeah, we had a very small time gap over third place, so we couldn't sit back today. We just went all out. We didn't want to leave the race to the last 20 k's. So yeah, we went hard in the first half, and it opened a bit of a gap. But the scenery today was incredible along the river, and the jet boat was quite an awesome experience.
Last year's winners James Williamson and Scott Little have to settle for third overall. Wellington Airport's Kate McElroy adds Pioneer Women's Champion to her impressive list of achievements as she and partner Amy Hollenby crossed the line in first place.
For me, it hasn't really sunk in, I guess. It's been a pretty long, emotional week, so yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, so she's that private. It's insane. Like I don't think either of us came here expecting to win it, and you know, we're primarily from a roadie background. So to come away with the victory and to have the yellow jersey every day was actually quite stressful. But to come away with such an awesome stage today and tops off just an incredible week.
Welcome back, our Australian contenders.
Oh look, we were just racing our own race today as best we could. If you can't go any faster, you can't go any faster, no matter how much will you have. So we absolutely just gave it everything we had today, and I mean, like, it's just a huge finish yesterday for us. So yeah, felt the consequences today, but we had a good time, took it all in, you know. It's a great event. I'll be back. We'll be back with a vengeance next year.
But the drama of the day is reserved for the mixed pair. Josie Wilcox and Joe Skirman win the stage into Queenstown, but have to wait anxiously and watch the clock to see if the defending champions will deny them the overall title.
There's like 30 seconds to go and it's a little bit tight.
Team New World eventually crossed the line, 9 minutes behind the stage winners, confirming Team JoJo as the Pioneer champions for 2018.
Well done, guys.
Got over the hill and yeah, just took each bit as it came. Josie was really good. She just kept looking out for me and yeah, brought it home.
Oh, far out.
Well, it wasn't our bodies letting us down today.
Yeah,
was it?
true.
So it was some bad luck, and that is bound to happen over a 7-day stage race, I'd say.
Yeah.
We've actually had really good luck every other year, so
yeah,
maybe we would do some.
You know what? Just before it happened, I was thinking to myself,
why?
we've done really well not to punch you this race.
Good one, Willie. Jinxed us.
Pretty tough day. Job done. Pretty happy. Need a rest.
Yeah, I'm very happy we done it. To finish it was a massive week, massive effort from Rion. So yeah, pretty stoked to cross the finish line today. Yeah.
To get in the top 20 in the last day for us, for what happened to us, massive change. So I'm stoked. I know Mitch is, and for us, and then now we're 26 on GC. So boom, we're good. From where we started from to finish, you know, a lot of resilience, from old mate here. We'll definitely be back,
Yeah. It's been a week of joy, pain, effort and reward, and for every rider in the Pioneer, just crossing the finish line is a victory.
They said, you know, part of their motto was find character and find toughness and find resilience and all that, find stunning, and it was all of that in spades. It was absolutely just outstanding the whole week.
If you really take yourself outside your own safe box, you know, your safe house, you learn so much more about yourself.
The riders have conquered one of the toughest mountain bike events in the world, and they can truly call themselves pioneers.